All right, guys. What is up? So, if you guys can hear me, I know that I don't think anybody's in here just yet, but welcome to Don't Drink That. I'm excited. This is my very first live stream, and today we're gonna kind of dive into the ancient Sumer theories and the connection to the Illuminati card game. And I know that's going to catch some people off guard. But hey, here we go. So, so I'm just going to jump into it. Bring up my notes here for you guys. All right. So here's the thing with the Illuminati card game, there are cards that they completely discontinued. And I wasn't able to find those cards. I have two different sets of Illuminati cards. One of them is the actual trading card game, and it's about 50 cards or so, and the other one is the actual board game. And that board game did not have all the cards, and I'm not spending money on an expansion pack for that. That's crazy. But they told us the plan in this game 31 years ago. You know, while the world was playing this game, the architects were laying out the forensic evidence of a 5,000-year-old cover-up. So we're going to look at the cards, and unfortunately, I don't have all those cards that I'm about to talk about today. But hopefully by the end of this, you'll see why Sumer wasn't just a civilization. It was a laboratory. And the lab has never been figured out. Like it's never been, it's just, it is what it is at this point. But we're going to get into the Atrahasis and the Gigi mutiny. And this comes in the genetic engineering card. So the Atrahasis is one of the oldest surviving stories in human history. It contains one of the earliest versions of the Great Flood narrative, long before the story of Noah in the Bible. It was written around 1800 BCE in Old Babylon period and for Mesopotamia. And it was written in Akkadian on clay tablets. It was named after Atrahasis, which means exceedingly wise. And it's essentially like your creation story with human origin plus divine rebellion plus the apocalyptic flood. Now, the gods were the first workers, and the lesser gods, which were the Agigi, are forced to do hard labor, and they dug canals and formed and maintained the entire world at that time. Now, the Anunnaki ruled over them, and the Agigi rebelled. This was the very first rebellion. And the Agigi go on strike, essentially. They surround the chief god, which is Enlil. And this is where they come up with a solution. They create humans for labor. Now, when we go back a little bit, we talk about the clay of the abyss, which refers to the Abzu. And it's a vast underground freshwater ocean beneath the earth. And it's considered to be the source of life, wisdom, and creation. And it's not hell or chaos. It's more like the deep hidden layer of reality where creation begins. So that's going to lead us into our next card reveal, which is combined disasters. Now, this card it's so Enlil used frequency and climate as weapons, and the tablets describe an evil wind that wiped out Sumer. So before we get too deep into that, I do want to know, so if the Igigi or if the Anunnaki engineered us as a substitute to be the worker race, do you think that our 9 to 5 grind is a modern necessity, or is it literally like hard coded into our DNA to keep us from looking up like what's going on around us? And so drop your thoughts in the chat, guys. Like, if do you think the work you do has real purpose, or do you think it's part of something that you were designed to do? I'm interested to know. Okay, now let's talk about this combined disasters card. So the conflict was between the brothers here, and Enlil wanted the noisy humans gone, the droughts, the famine, all of it. And the connection here is that Enlil used frequency and climate as weapons. The tablets describe an evil wind that wiped out Sumer. So they show the same multi-layered attack: famine followed by plague followed by the flood. Now the revelation here is that this card validates the Enlil strategy. When the worker race becomes too conscious, you trigger a reset. And this happened in 4000 BC, and the card suggests that the reset button is being dusted off again. And so if Enlil used the evil wind and the flood to reset the population because we are too loud, in 2026 with the internet and us talking right now, are we getting too loud again? So what do you think the modern Great Reset actually is here? Is it a flood or is it a frequency? I would like to know. You guys go ahead and drop that in the chat if you want to talk about that. Man, this is let me see what we got going on here. I lost my place in my notes. All right. So we have the one world coup with Marduk. And for those of you that don't know who Marduk is, he is Enki's son. And he gets tired of this family war. He takes over Babylon. He renames the 50 gods to his own 50 names. The connection here is the New World Order card. So Marduk was the first to centralize power. And he invented state religion to replace direct rule. And he turned the ziggurats into energy hubs, the first orgone generators. So to kind of backtrack a little bit here, we're going to talk a little bit about the creation of humans for labor. Now, the combined disasters happens after the creation of humans. It was mixing clay with the blood of a sacrificed god. The scientist god responsible for this was Enki. And this makes humans part divine, part sacrifice beings. And this is how the worker slave was created. Humanity becomes a problem at this point. They multiply rapidly. The gods don't care about their sins as much as they care about the noise, which is very odd to me, but they care more about the noise here than anything. And Enlil, in particular, was disturbed by humans being too loud. And this is where the first attempt to wipe out humans comes in. So instead of just hitting humans with the flood right away, the gods tried to plague, hit us with droughts, and even famine came first. But when that didn't work, because each time Enki tried to protect his creation by helping them survive, by giving them instructions through Atrahasis, which is crazy because if you think about it, Enki, the creator of humanity, would be more like our god, right? And Enlil sounds more like um it's weird because it's like you have God and then you have Jesus Christ and then you have layers to this. But it starts off with Enlil sounding like the ruler over everything, which would be God. And then you have Enki who actually created us, which would be our creator God. But you have then you have um but then you have your um which we're not going to get into Inanna today, but you have Inanna, which is a different kind of like I have videos on her already, but we'll get back into that at some point. But so it sounds more like Enki tried to do the right thing, and then later on down the road, his creation, he's constantly trying to save his own creation, and Lil sounds more like Satan here than Enki does, but I digress. And so yeah, this created the rebellious insider trope. And this is how Enki became the fallen angel. So then now you have the great flood. So Enlil has enough of Enki's shit, essentially, and decides to destroy humanity with a massive flood. But Enki warns Atrahasis in secret, telling him to build a boat and gives him details, instructions. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Sounds pretty obvious to me. So then you have your survival in the aftermath of all this. Atrahasis builds the ark, saves animals and his family, and survives the flood, which is Noah. Now, after the flood, the gods regret their decision. No humans equals no food offerings. So then you have recreation of humanity. Now, this is the new control system to prevent overpopulation again. And the gods introduce infertility, infant mortality, and celibacy roles, such as priestesses who don't reproduce. And this is the first mythological population control system. This predates the Bible. Atrahasis' flood story is older than the book of Genesis is. And it connects other ancient texts like the Epic of Gilgamesh. The flood survivor is Utnapishtim, which is essentially the alias to Atrahasis. Now that brings us to our final act here, which we kind of talk about the ziggurats and the energy hubs and the foregone generators. Now there's a connection here to Nikola Tesla. This is where Tesla's 369 frequency comes in. The cards show power to the people as a trap. Marduk used frequency to keep the population in a beta brainwave state, the same state that you're in when you watch mainstream news today. Pretty wild. So let's bridge this to Egypt. So, as you know, I'm going to be going into ancient Egypt soon. So, this brings us to our next card, the pyramids. Secret Master card also works here, but we're going to focus on the pyramid card. The Anunnaki didn't leave didn't leave after the evil wind wiped out Sumer. They just moved the laboratory down the Nile. So the teaser is next Monday we go to Egypt. We're going to look at the Pharaoh card and why their DNA matches the Sumerian king list. The conflict didn't end. It just changed its outfit. So here's my call to action from you guys. Um, I, if you have questions, I want to hear them. Go ahead and drop some questions in here. Um, Now, for some reason, I don't have my comments. I'm not getting any comments coming in. Trying to find my. Anyway, let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, my whole screen over here went out. That's shitty. Wow. First live and I can't even get my comments to be up. That's garbage. But anyway, I can always go back and look at the questions and stuff. So if you all have any kind of comments on this topic, I'm all ears. You can go ahead and send them in and I will reply to those after the video. But if you missed the beginning, the replay will be up shortly. And for my people in the West Coast that are just waking up, thank you for joining in. There will be a pinned comment for the link to the full breakdown. Now, I'm 4 videos in. I think this is number 5 into my ancient civilization. So I'm just scratching the surface here. So I was hoping this would be longer because I was hoping to have a little bit more engagement. But I'm noticing that a lot of people didn't come in. Maybe it's an early time, too early of a time for people. So we'll build off of this, and always leave me your feedback, guys. I'm always open to changing times around the best that I can. Now I only have Mondays to do recordings and stuff, so I don't have an open schedule every single day. But anyway, I wouldn't call this a failure, but I would say that I do need to get some more engagement. I need to look into ways to get you guys more involved. Maybe the time is just too early for people. But that's okay. This was a test play. Now I need to rearrange some things. So stay vigilant, guys. The cards have been played. And it's time we learned how to read the deck. Oh, wait, before I go, did you guys ever hear about the guy? I think it was like early 2000s that said that on Easter Sunday of 2026, the aliens would come out of the ocean and it would be the start of like a new world. Yeah, I'm still fucking waiting on those aliens to come out of the water, man. I've been waiting on these aliens to show up for like the last 10 years. And every time somebody predicts something to happen, it's almost like the shit was never existed in the first place or something. Like, I know there is aliens. I know they're real. I'm not going to argue that. But I wish these people would stop doing these fake like prophecies, cuz you're getting my hopes up and now I'm just getting pissed off at this point. Like, I don't know. But go ahead, guys, just message me, drop comments. I'm going to be doing some editing today on, so this is going to count for my video for the day, I think. But I'm going to be doing some editing for my Wednesday drop, and then it's going to lead me into ancient Egypt next Monday. So this was actually a good timing. But until Monday, I love you guys. Stay safe. Remember, don't drink that. Hopefully we can get a better turnout next week and I can get my comments to work. That would be fantastic. All right. Peace.